Hello, everyone, and welcome to Campus Connections, where we dive deep into the lives and stories of the incredible faculty and staff who make our campus a vibrant place to be every day. We'll explore their journeys, their inspirations, and the unique experiences that drive their commitment to Manhattan University. My name is Billy Walker, and today we'll be talking to the Director of Performing Arts here at Manhattan University, Andy Bauer. How are you today?
I'm great, Billy. Thank you so much for inviting me to come.
Oh, well, thanks for being here.
It's a real pleasure.
So let's just dive right into it.
Sure.
Can you share your personal journey to becoming the Director of Performing Arts here at Manhattan University?
Well, it's interesting that you have the name of your show is Campus Connections, because connections are what brought me to Manhattan College.
Okay.
And so, everything that I did after graduating from Manhattan School of Music, my alma mater, sort of led me to this place. It took me about 7 years, but I finally got a full-time job working in the music field. And one of my cohorts at Manhattan School of Music, his name was Bruno Casolari, was a music director up in Yonkers at a big Catholic church up there. And I was doing some work with him, some arranging work. And he said, I'm leaving my position. I think you'd be great for it. Why don't you come and audition for it? So I did, and they hired me. And then from that point on, I just met so many people that influenced my career and my music work. One fellow named John Sacco, who's our tenor section leader, introduced me to all these people. He introduced me to a guy named Tom Snowden, who was the director of music at Sacred Heart Church. And he also was leaving that job. And he said, hey, why don't you come and take my job? So I was at St. John's for 7 years, and I went to Sacred Heart. And Tom Snowden also introduced me to the Sisters of Charity, who run the College of Mount St. Vincent, now the University of Mount St. Vincent. So I was working with them for several years, and one of the nuns there invited me to audition for a job at Mother Cabrini High School as a choir director. So I did that, and I worked there for 7 years. And while I was there, I met a wonderful person named Monica Ducange, who was my student, and she decided to go to Manhattan College. Now we're starting to see some connections here, right? So I helped her, and she was auditioning for the Performing Arts Scholarship, and I had no connection with Manhattan College whatsoever at the time. And I was helping her. I went as a pianist, and she received a scholarship. And about halfway through her freshman year, she calls me up and she said, hey, Mr. Bauer, our choir director left in the middle of the year, and we need to fulfill that position to the end. Would you be interested in coming? So see how these connections lead from one to another. And so I came and I don't know if the kids loved me or felt sorry for me, but they gave me a chance to be their choir director. And here I am now. So it's very important to establish connections in our life, human connections, because we help each other out as we navigate our paths through life.
Exactly. That's big networking for anyone watching.
Networking is
You've
so
probably
important.
heard this 1,000 times, but network. It helps. But how did you also find your passion for, I don't know, would music education be the correct word to title it? Or
I fell into music education because, when I was at Manhattan School of Music, I never thought about becoming a college professor or really teaching. I wanted to perform music. I wanted to be a conductor and a composer, and I pursued that path, and I still pursue it. But working for the church is kind of a teaching position. When you're a music director in a big Catholic church, you run a choir and you have to teach the music. So, and I had a large children's choir throughout my career in doing music direction. And that in itself is a teaching position. So these things set me up for actually teaching classes and doing what I do now.
Nice. What makes performing arts at Manhattan University stand out from other schools?
Well, I tell you, this is a pretty unique place in that we invest a lot of confidence and power in our students. And what I mean by that is that we look to them to help us establish the repertoire, the tone of the ensembles. I don't know a lot of students where I don't know a lot of universities and colleges where the students are instrumental in choosing what repertoire they do, but we really look to the students to help us develop that, because we at Manhattan University believe that if the students own the material they're doing, whether it be a play or a musical or, repertoire and singers or orchestra, they're going to be more committed to it because they're personally invested in it. And that's our philosophy here, to empower the students and make them responsible for those things. And we advise them, certainly, and sometimes I bring in some of my own ideas and like, hey guys, try this, and they'll try it, and sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't, but we want to raise the bar, on their technical ability, and to challenge them and make sure that they have to do a little bit of work.
Oh my God, yeah. And this is like as someone who is in performing arts, this is probably one of the strongest like years of performing arts here at Manhattan University.
It is, and every year this happens to me all the time. Every year I get to a point and I say, God, these kids these seniors are going to graduate, and I'm going to be lost, and it's going to fall apart. But it never does, because there's always really great, talented, wonderful people that come up the ranks and fill those shoes and put their own shoes on.
Yeah, those jobs are fun. I worked as treasurer for singers 2 years ago. I was marketing chair for Players, a theater group, and it's just fun. Like, you kind of have a say in what each group does every year, and you got to actually, not only for those just in the ensembles for the fun of it and they like it, but you also like get to have a say in what they do, what shows they do, like you talked about before.
Now, sometimes it creates a challenge. Empowering the students can cause some friction, not only between the students themselves, but even between the directors and the students. But we all work through that, and we all love each other, and we love what we do. So that carries us through.
Perfect. And now something I want to highlight, that a class you teach every spring semester is album class. I've taken it. It is like the most like fun I've ever had in a class probably here
It's
or
a
in
cool
my
class.
entire life.
It's a cool class.
Do you want to give a good like rundown of what the class is like?
Well, again, I think that this is a very unique situation at Manhattan University. I don't know of any other school that has a class where you actually perform the music that you study. There are lots of places that will have, you'll study Elvis or even the Beatles or something like that, but you never actually perform the music.
No.
You sit and you listen and you study the history and all that stuff, and then you write a paper maybe, which is great. But here we're actually deconstructing it and then reconstructing it into a live performance. And when you do that, you gain a certain seminal understanding of the music that you wouldn't otherwise. Like when you transcribe music and then play it back, it's a very different experience than simply listening to it and absorbing it into your soul.
Oh yeah.
Because you're actually performing it, and you did that. So I mean,
oh yeah,
I'm sure you have lots to say about.
I have
your
like
experience.
Such a deeper appreciation for Abbey Road by the Beatles. It was such a fun class. You get to like work on your creativity with everyone else. Like I got a communications major. I got to work on creating a trailer and advertising the show, where we like sold out every performance and even had to add extra shows and extra seats. It's so much fun. It's 3 hours on a Friday. You get to hang out with your friends, jam out.
And the chemistry that develops is so great between the members of the class. So just in case people don't know, the album class is a class that takes a famous album in pop music or rock history, an album that had a great influence on its peers and sort of set the tone and changed music in a certain direction. And then we analyze it. We analyze it for the formal structure of the music, the harmony, the content, the recording process, the history of the songwriting, all that stuff. And then, as I said, we reconstruct it into a live performance.
Perfect. And then one last thing I want to ask you about is, you want to give a little plug. The end of the semester, the singers and orchestra and music ministry and the Manhattons are all performing at Lexington Carols which is our annual winter concert every year. If you want to say anything else to let the people know where we can go and when will it be?
Yeah, so our annual Festival of Lessons and Carols will take place on December 8th. The doors open at 3 o'clock. Preludes begin at 3:30, and the concert itself begins at 4. And it's just a beautiful chance for people to just settle down from all the hustle and bustle of the end of the semester and thinking about buying Christmas presents and decorating and all that crazy stuff, and just to sit and be for a moment and reflect on what the true meaning of the season is and the joy of that and how beautiful it is, and with some really beautiful music and some wonderful talented young people that are just so inspiring to work with and to make music with. So and it's free,
Yeah.
and it's the orchestra of Manhattan University and the singers of Manhattan University putting on a beautiful concert.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Andy.
I'm so touched that you invited me, and I really appreciate that. It means a great deal to
Well,
me.
like you're like a reason. Like you're probably like one of the main reasons that like I'm a student here.
Oh,
No,
thank
I
you.
swear. When I remember, I don't know if you remember, but when I was looking at colleges, I somehow was set up a meeting between you and the director of players at the time.
Yeah, that was JR.
Yes, it was JR.
Yes.
And it was a random Saturday.
Yeah, and you and your mom came.
Yes, and you were willing to have a meeting or like say hello to me and my mom, who didn't even know I was coming here yet. And that it just spoke like volumes to me. That I was like, wow, if this faculty members, these professors are willing to meet with me and talk to me about whatever I was going to ask them about, like I can only imagine what it's like being a student here. So I want to thank you. I don't know if I've ever thanked you for that, but thank you.
I'm very happy that we were able to meet that day, and well, we do that. Anyone who's interested in coming here, especially, and we'll give them a grand tour of performing arts, a personalized tour, and come and meet our directors, and you, in the case of being interested in players, met with our drama director J.R. Caldwell, who is a wonderful guy.
He was great.
Yeah.
I hope he's doing well. Maybe you're watching. Hi, JR. But once again, thank you so much for being here, Andy.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And thank you all for watching today's episode, and we'll see you on the next episode of Campus Connections.